Hey everyone, it's Desiree. I am here with the ARTEZA Everblend alcohol markers, both the 60 and the 120 count. ARTEZA graciously sent me these products so that I could give you a review, give you some tips and tricks, and this video is not sponsored in any way. So let's get started. Now the first thing, heads up, long video, I'm just saying. I'm keeping this regular time. I'm not speeding this up. The only time that I'm speeding it up is when we do get to the coloring of the flower, but you're still going to be able to see the details on how I color. So first up is what the 120 count set looks like. Now, I do apologize. The way that my phone is set up for taping, this is how big this is. I can't get the whole picture in. We've got two buckles like you saw in the beginning, a strong Velcro to close, and then Velcros on the side, and then it opens up. You can see just by the caps of the alcohol markers that they come in a wide range of colors when it comes to the 120. There are browns and there are grays. When it comes to the 160, now there's also slots open if you want to add some colors to this collection. Now, when it comes to the 160, know that the colors that are in that set are also sitting in the 120. So if you do already own the 60 count set, purchasing this one will give you duplicates of your 60 count. They are looking into, so there's a possibility that a second set of 60 will come out, which if you already have the original 60, you'll be able to purchase this, and then you will have the complete 120 count, if that makes sense. Now, I do look at these sets separately, because here is your 60 count. You can see it fits in the view a little bit better. There are the two buckles that come detached. You have a nice strong handle and a nice strong arm strap on both cases that you can just put over your arm. So you can just grab this and go anywhere you want to go and be creative. Absolutely. So these are the colors in the 60 count. You can see there's not many browns and there's a few grays. But what I do like about this color set, the 60 count, is if you like to color florals only, maybe you don't color the critters, that's okay. This is the set for you. You've got some great purples, you've got some great pinks, reds, oranges, the rainbow colors, 2 shades of green, everything that you need to color your florals. So if that's what you like, then I suggest the 60 count. You really don't need that 120 count. Now, if you are that person that does like to color florals and our little cute critters that are out there, then the 120 set would be for you. Again, because there's browns, there's a nice range of browns. Because there are grays and there's different tones of grays. There's a cool set of grays. There's a warm set of grays. So there's a blue tone of grays. These are the color charts that I created. Now, this is the way that I see these colors blending. So the one on the right represents the 60 colors, the 60 count. Now, you can see on this chart, I've got black numbers and I've got red numbers. So the red numbers on this chart represent the 60 count set. The black numbers represent what's also included in the 120. So remember, if you have the 60, they are already also in the 120 as well. So this is what the color chart would look like with 120 count of the colors. So you can see you've got some steel gray blues going on there to the right. You've got your cool grays. You've got your warm grays. You've got some great browns for a fox. You've got some great browns for a bear. And then you've got some great browns that can be mixed to create your deer colors. That's how I like to break out the critters a little bit there. And then the rainbow is just really looked at. This chart, if you like the way that these blends look, this chart will be down below, or not down below, I am sorry, will be on my blog that you will be able to download. Okay, so keep that in mind. With the two sets, and it's the same color, I found one color kind of out there. It's a fluorescent yellow. It's like a highlighter. It's 301 right there in the upper right hand corner there. So it can go somewhere, I'm sure. I just couldn't see it. So these are what the pens look like. And what I'm going to do is just compare them size-wise to a few other alcohol markers that I have. You can see that the color, I'm sorry that didn't focus in, but the number, which doesn't represent anything on these. It's not like the Copics. The number means something for Copics. For this is just a number. It is on both sides. It has a chisel point on one, and it has a bullet tip, which is a little bit bigger than normal bullet tips, I have to say, on the other. And you'll know the bullet side either by the pictures that they give or the ring that's going around the marker. So this is the size comparison to the Prismacolor and the Stampin' Up! Blends. Now both of these have a bullet and a brush marker tip. The next up is your Nuvo that has a bullet and a chisel tip. So you can see they're a little bit shorter, but the barrel where the caps meeting are close to the same. Your Copics, of course, have a chisel and also a brush tip as well. Now remember, your Copics are refillable, along with the Altenews, and that's the Altenew that I have here. They have a brush tip along with a bullet. So your Copics and your Altenews are the only ones in here that I'm showing that are refillable. These are not refillable. You can purchase replacements on an individual color, but when you do purchase them, you will be getting 4. So you'll have 3 spares. So here I'm just working with some coloring. You can see the fine line that you get with the bullet tip. You can see with the chisel, it does come out very solid, and it does even itself out. So here I'm trying the flicking technique. We all love the flicking technique in our florals. To watch Kelly Latavola and Courtney Krieber, they're my two that I watch. To watch them flick those colors out on their florals is mesmerizing for me. And again, I'm still learning, still practicing with alcohol markers, but I will keep on practicing. So you can see here, when I put my colors down, it's not going to give you the same effect in flicking, but I always put my light color down first, then I come in with my medium, then I come in with my dark, and then I reverse the process and I come back out. Once my dark, I come in where the dark and the medium meet. I go over that with my medium, and then I come back with my light where it meets the medium and the light as well, just to help blend those out. So here I'm just going to work with the chisel to show that you can blend with the chisels as well. There are times where we have a large enough area where we can use the chisel to get a quicker coverage, to get a quicker blend. And that is very possible with these. You can also use the chisel tip to color with as well. I will apologize. I thought I was still recording. I did try the tip to tip technique with these, and that's where you have a darker shade in your, I put it in my left, and then I have a lighter shade in my right, and it's when the values are very far apart and maybe you just don't have that color, I'm able to take that light to the dark, pick some of that dark up, and then by putting it down on my paper, I'm able to get that blend. Now the paper that I'm using here for my image, and my image is by Newton's Nook, and it's called Peony Blossom. I'm using my 80-pound Solar Crest. That is my paper of choice for alcohol marker coloring. And you want to remember that too when you create your color chart. You do want to have, when you create your color chart or print this down, you want to try to print it down on the paper that you use for your alcohol markers, because then you're going to have the same color, the true color. When it comes to my alcohol markers, even a lot of things, my ink pads, everything, I try to have a color swatch so that I can see that true color when I'm choosing the colors to use for my projects. You can see that I'm starting out with my greens, and I realize I'm not zoomed in, so now I'm going to bring you a little closer here. I did speed this portion up because I did want you to see all of the coloring. To see I'm using different techniques. I stick with the light all over the image, excuse me, and then my medium, and then my dark. And then that gets reversed. So after my dark's down, I come back in with my medium, go where they match or they meet, and then I come in with my light where the medium and the light meet. I don't go over the whole image. I know, and I used to do that. And there was one time I just asked a really good friend of mine, you know, why is this happening? How come I'm not getting the blends like everybody else is? I'm getting this cloudy effect. And there's like dots in it, and it just got very hazy. It's the only way that I can describe it. And she immediately knew what it was. And what it was, I was taking my light color after I had all of my other colors on and going over the whole image again, like I did when I start. And what she explained was your light color is almost like a colorless blender. It can, you know, alcohol markers are made to blend with each other, but they will move the color away from each other. So once she explained that to me, which was recently, I'm getting more comfortable with my alcohol markers. Now, who was that person? I believe some of you know her. It's Courtney Kreber. She is a YouTuber, and I will make sure that her link to her YouTube channel will be down below. I love watching her color. She, true enjoyment there. I also do enjoy Kelly Latavola, of course. So you can see I've moved over to my peonies. I'm starting with the blossoms. Again, light color, medium color, and finally the dark color that's going to come in. And then I just blend that out. So for two of these petals, I'm going to use the flicking motion. At least that's what I call it, that flicking motion. So I want you to see that with this bullet nib, you're going to get a different effect than if you have a brush nib. So when you have the brush nib, it looks smoother, where the bullet nib, you almost see the lines. Now, I'm okay with that. And what I mean by that is, I'm not settling, but to me that adds texture. It adds a difference to the flower that I'm coloring, or the image. It all depends on the image that I'm coloring. But you can see I still get the shade. I still get the differences. So just know that you can do that. You can use that technique. It's a different effect that you're going to get. For all of the other petals here, I'm using what I call the layer blend, you know, where you, again, I add my light color down. I go in with my medium where I want that shade, and then I come in with my darker. I come back in, I reverse it now. I come back in with my medium. I go over the dark and the medium where they meet, and then I come in with my light where it meets with the medium, and I blend that out so that I can have that smooth transition. Now, what I also want to show here is it's okay if you get, you know, those lines, because again, that's just adding the shading. I don't worry about a light source. No matter how I'm coloring, I do not worry about a light source. I never have. I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to. But here's one thing that I find challenging for alcohol markers. One of the things, and again, I'm going to be honest, is, don't get me wrong, I do have a few Copics, but to figure out the numbering system, yeah, no. It's a lot of work, and there is one particular person We all know her. I'm sure you have watched her videos. I'm sure you are very well aware of her YouTube channel. I will have it linked below. That is our Courtney Kreber. She does beautiful work with alcohol markers. And she has tried to explain the numbering system to me, and God bless her. She has the patience of everyone. I just can't get it. It's really amazing. But I'm okay with it. So I just need something that's simple. So when you're looking at 120 colors, I will spend the time to make my color chart. And let me tell you what, it was a process. I had to make little tiny chips on smaller pieces of paper, cut up, lay them out, see what blends with what, make sure I wrote the number down on them so I knew which one it was. Then I designed my coloring chart, typed in my numbers, and then went to coloring again. I colored so many times that I'm surprised they're not dried out. But that's what I go through. So now that I have my color chart, it's easier for me. It's just a process for me, and I'm okay with that. I'll just learn these and keep practicing with them in a different way. But I did find these very easy. It took me, no time. While the colors on the pen are close, I will say that I think the colors that they have actually on these pens, whether it's on the barrel, which is on the bullet end, whether it's on each of the ends, they're close. They're not perfect. You can't, don't trust that, because you may not get the blend that you're looking for when it comes to your colors. So I do highly recommend, no matter what you have in alcohol markers, do your coloring chart and make sure you're on the paper that you're going to use, because then you'll see what's going to blend and what it's going to look like, and practice with them. You can practice with an image, but just practice blending. That will help you get comfortable with them as well. So you can see we're just about finished coloring our image. And again, this is a Newton's Nook image called Peony Blossom. I love peonies. And I just love this image because it's all right there. You don't have to mask. It's already done for you. But I am one to enjoy coloring a floral. Now, my medium of choice are colored pencils. That's usually what I grab for first. But colored pencils do take time. I like to refer to it as colored pencils will take twice the time, maybe more, depending upon your image and depending upon how I'm coloring it, than your Copics or your alcohol markers. So this image with the alcohol markers actually took me about 30 minutes to color from start to finish. I did speed up the video, obviously, and now we're back to normal speed. So here is a very close-up of what that coloring looks like. I think the blends are wonderful. Now we're going to go zoom back out again. You're way close there, so sorry about that. I'm going to make sure I get my caps back on. You always want to make sure your caps are back on tightly. So even when you hear that click, I like to really push down to make sure. And when I put them back in my case, my ARTEZA Everblends, I like to make sure that the ring is down on the bottom. That's the bullet tip. I'm not going to be storing these horizontal, which is what I usually like to do so that the ink stays even. But I will be keeping these in the case. So they're going to be standing upright. So to make sure, I like to use the bullet tip. I very rarely use the chisel tip. So by keeping the bullet tip down towards the bottom, that ink is going to sit there. You can see I placed my image up on a standard A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it is a top folding card base. I'm using my Nuvo Vintage Chocolate Chip Drops, which will dry with a matte finish, and they have become one of my favorites. Yes, I love the matte finish. I did choose a sentiment from the stamp set, and it simply says, "Thinking of you." And I'm just putting in some dots, and I use this brown for the entire center of my peonies. So that's our card for today, using the ARTEZA Everblend alcohol markers. Now, remember, down in the description will be a coupon. So of course, I do have a coupon for you. 10% off, and you actually are seeing it. You've been seeing it running along the bottom of the screen there, and it's my name with the number 4 all together. So please, 10% off. How can you go wrong? And they're always wanting some great sales. Here again are the color charts. Remember, the numbers in red are from the 60 count, and then the numbers that are in black represent what's added in the 120 count, because it includes your 60 count. So if you already have that 60 count, you will have duplicates within the 120. All right, so just keep that in mind. You can, again, order individual colors, but you're going to get 4 of those markers, and that's okay. These are not refillable, so I can't tell you, though, how long they will last. You know, the way that I will use them, I'm sure I will get a great, nice, long use with them. Okay, so I hope I answered some of your questions. If you had any, if you've been seeing these and wondering this and wondering that, I'm hoping I got to answer those questions for you. If you have any questions, though, or comments, please leave those down below in the comments section, and I will make sure that I get back to you right away, or as soon as possible. The products that I used, along, of course, with the ARTEZA markers, will be linked down below, along with my coupon code. I can't say that enough. Coupon. Who doesn't love a coupon? Will also be linked down below, and also to their website. You'll be able to check out what else they offer. Their creativity in the offerings for us creators is just growing in leaps and bounds, and I think it's wonderful. And I am very grateful that they came to me and regularly come to me and ask if I will review their products for you, for the card maker, for the art journalist, or whatever you do in the paper crafting world. So I hope this does help. I want to thank you so much for stopping by and watching today's video. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe, but make sure you ring the bell, because you don't want to miss the next video, because you never know what it's going to be. It's always something different. I hope you're having a great day. I hope everyone is doing well, but always remember what's most important. Always be creative.